Welcome to Pin Pals, a podcast about enamel pins and the people and culture around it. I'm your host, Erick Roman from Warrior Pins, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the very first episode. It means a lot that you're here. This has been a long time coming, but here I am, all up in your ears. We're kicking off this podcast with an OG in the pin game. George Gomez, aka Nostalgia Vault, is a pin maker based in Southern California, and boy did we have a conversation. We talk about how George's disability didn't stop him from being able to sling pins, his love for Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, how Nostalgia Vault started as a vintage toy account on Instagram, dealing with C&Ds, selling on Shopify, and so much more. Now, before we get into things, I just want to say that George is a very busy and family-oriented man. It's one of the things that I love about him. I'm so grateful he was able to find the time to talk to me, but due to some prior obligations, our time was cut short. I apologize for the abrupt ending, but I think that means we'll just have to have him back on sometime soon. So without further ado, enjoy this conversation with my pin pal, Nostalgia Vault. Welcome to Pin Pals, George. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me. This is fun. And I did hear your last podcast, and it was really fun. I can't wait to be on this one. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. First of all, before we even get into anything, your shirt, Pin Game?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
That's from my buddy Carlos, the Data Crew.
Okay.
So actually, if you saw the whole shirt, you see the little pin back. Yeah, it's kind of...
That's sick. I need to get my hands on that.
Yeah, so hit up our Data Crew for that.
Yeah, they've been at Patches and Pins Expo, haven't they?
Yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've been to the East Coast ones yet, but
okay. Well, then I definitely follow them on Instagram because that name sounds very familiar.
But oh man, most of my apparel is from pin makers and other makers. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Like 90%.
I love that. I'm actually wearing a metalhead T-shirt from Never Die Never, who makes some really cool like Ninja Turtle clothing.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners? What's your elevator pitch?
Oh, I don't really have one. I'm not really. This is honestly like the first time I do this. I've been asked literally hundreds of times to do podcasts, and they just say no. I'm like, I'm not good at this. I'm not like. I'm usually the behind the scenes type of person. So
yeah.
Again, so I don't really. Yeah, I've been asked, like I said, multiple times, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. But anyways, I'm George. I'm from Southern California. I'm a pin maker. Let's see. That's really it. I don't do a lot of other things. My background is mainly in graphic design, so it was easy. It was an easy, way to get into pins. It was super easy.
Is Nostalgia Vault a full-time thing for you, or do you have a full-time job that kind of helps?
No, this Nostalgia Vault is my full-time gig, actually.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah, well, I mean, it has to be because I am. I guess I'm disabled technically, and I don't have any other means. I can't. My body works like at 10% basically, so
okay.
I can't really be doing anything else. But here in the state of California, it's super hard to get disability. Super difficult. Like you can be in a wheelchair and you still wouldn't get it. It's super hard. So I had to figure out a way. Dude, I used to work 3 jobs and to go to school and nonstop. My body would not stop. The next thing you know, just couldn't do nothing after that. So I had to figure out a way. And eventually, yeah, that's kind of what started it. I would have probably I probably wouldn't even know what pins were if, this whole thing didn't happen.
Wow.
So.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but it kind of sounds like a blessing in disguise because that kind of led to you having what I would imagine is a pretty successful pin business. You're almost at 30,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Your designs are great. It seems like you have like a loyal fan base. So, I mean, it's working for you.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm surprised still to this day. Like, I would release a pin and I would be like, well, there it goes. And then it would be gone in 24 hours and I would just be like, what? And I'm still surprised that happens every time. And I'm just like, it's crazy. So even venturing into t-shirts too and apparel, that was, and I'm still going to do it. I'm still doing it. I got a couple of collaborations coming up. So
Hmm.
mainly, I love pins, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing for a while. And I know a lot of brands like, you know, I don't know, back a while back, being a pin brand was kind of like a bad word. Like now I'm just a clothing brand, apparel brand, or whatever. No, I mean I love that. I don't care if you call me a pin brand. I want to be a pin brand. I want to be known as that, so it's fine. So
Yeah.
we're a pin brand that makes apparel sometimes. So that's what it is.
I like that. That should be like the official wording on your
Yeah,
Instagram bio.
yeah, right. I should just change it to that.
Very casual. I like that. So before we get too deep into a lot of these pin questions, I like to start off the show by asking, what's your earliest pin memory?
Oh, earliest pin memory. I'd say back in the day, like Pogs. Remember Pogs?
Yeah, of course. I was born
Okay.
in the 90s. Played
Yeah,
Pogs all
back
the
in the
time.
day, so they had these Simpsons pins. I remember buying a set of that. I was a big Simpsons fan. Same with a couple of Pokemon pins. I remember. So this was back in the day. Um, I used to wear them like a lot, but so I had these pins, and then like next thing you know, I just stopped. I don't know what happened. I don't even know where they're at. They probably, I don't know, probably threw them away or lost them. But the earliest ones would have to be the Simpsons. It was like they were like epoxy filled. I remember being epoxy filled, like super, super. You can tell some of them were printed on
Yeah.
offset print type of pins, and they were very like not well made, but still it was Bart Simpson, so it was so cool.
So wait,
Yeah.
those pins came with the Pogs back in the day? I don't
No,
remember
no, no,
that.
no. So I remember collecting all the Simpsons pods, and then that's kind of what got me into Simpsons pins and all that. So it
Ah,
was during that
gotcha.
time. During that time, that pods were big. So yeah, it was back then.
The good old days when things were a
Yeah.
lot simpler. So you said that your disability led you to creating Nostalgia Vault. Um,
Yeah, basically. So I try to find a way to make some income. So I
mhm.
started selling a lot of my vintage toy collection because I used to collect toys. So that's kind of where it started from. So I had an Instagram basically dedicated to selling my stuff, and that eventually became more like a repost Instagram. This was like in 2013 or 14, like early.
Okay, yeah.
It became a repost Instagram where I would just post like just nostalgic pictures of like whatever, like oh Toys R Us or whatever. That's kind of where it just became. I think it was like the Instagram was like Nostalgia Ninja because I was a Ninja Turtles collector too. So something like that. I can't remember what it was called, but this was back then. And then 2015, I started just. I mean, again, I used to do graphic design, so I just
Mhm.
started posting random. I started selling stickers through Redbubble. I don't know if you know what Redbubble is. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of like a drop shipping for stickers or something like that. Kind of like it's
Hmm.
weird, but yeah. So I think I posted a sticker of our first pin, which was let's see, I think I have it right here. The little mailhouse pin, tiny little mailhouse pin.
Yes.
So, anyways, I posted that as a sticker, and I was like, "You guys can grab it." Next thing you know, I sold like 50 stickers in a day, and I got a check of like literally nothing from that because Redbubble makes all the money from it.
Right.
You get like a tiny little percentage, and I was like, "Well, why didn't I just print them myself and actually make the money?" Because they were like $5 with shipping,
Hmm.
and I think I got like 30 some cents out of each one.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I was like, "Why don't I just do this?" And then I was like, this was 2015, and I think I walked into a comic book shop and I saw a bunch of pins, and then I started buying them. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome! I haven't seen pins in forever." So I just started buying them, and most of them are like mashup pins, bootleg pins. Like, pretty stoked about that. And I posted on Instagram. Somebody was like, "When do you make your stickers into pins or whatever?" That's kind of what it did. Eventually, I was like, maybe I should. So at the end of 2015, I didn't know how it works, so I just did a pre-order because I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Hmm.
So I just did a pre-order of that Millhouse pin. And yeah, I
Like
think
on
I sold.
Kickstarter or something?
No, actually, just on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I think on my personal Instagram or something. It just started like that basically. And yeah, because I didn't know where to even order them from or who. So I just went through a middleman like everybody does their first time
Right.
mostly. So it worked out. I was like, I didn't make that much at all because they were kind of expensive to make
Mm-hmm.
because it was through a middleman. But they make everything so much easier for you, especially if you're a first time,
It
you
does,
know,
yeah.
making your pins. It worked out. People loved it. People were reposting it, and yeah, once they reposted it, I was getting a lot of traction on my Instagram for sure.
Do you remember how many you sold, give or take?
So I made 100. I want to say for pre-order, I think it was like 50 I sold.
That's what's
Then
up.
when it came in, I said I have another 50, and then I don't think it took too long to get rid of those
Yeah.
because of all the people reposting it that they got theirs. Yeah, it was like a lot of friends reposting and family and all that, so that also can help.
Right. So then you just kind of like fed off that, all that feedback that you were getting from people, everyone showing you a lot of love, and you're like, oh, there might be something here.
Yeah, yeah.
At what point did you decide to ditch the middleman and just kind of work with the manufacturer directly?
It probably took me like a year, maybe a little less, but only because that middleman, it was who was it? I can't remember the name of the company, but only because they had the best customer service. They were super nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where pins were taking like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, almost 2 months to make. And I was like, I was getting hit up already by China. You know how everybody gets hit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was already getting emails, and I was like,
Every day.
every day nonstop. Yeah. So now it's actually DMs. I get
Yes.
DMs. Yeah, we all
But
get
it's still the
DMs.
same thing every
Yeah, the
day.
same
There's a
thing.
manufacturer.
I actually have a copy and paste reply for all of them. But anyways, so I kept getting hit up and the prices were ridiculous. I was like, this has to be fake or spam or something, but it's literally half of what I was paying. I didn't believe it, and then that's kind of how I figured I was like, all right, let me give this person a try with maybe a design that maybe it's not like, I don't have a lot of hope for or whatever. Let's just get it out. Which is the stupidest design too that I did. I think it's not stupid, but it was like a dumb mashup. That if you look at it, I look at it now and I laugh.
What is it?
It was Stewie Griffin mixed with Bobby from Bobby's World. I just laughed so hard because I'm like, why did I make this? I still think about it. Like, why did I just make a Stewie pin or a Bobby pin on its own? Like, why did I mash them up? It's ridiculous.
It's
I think
awesome. I love how unique it is.
yeah, but I was just like, I don't know. I laugh about that. So I just went through that design. I was like, I'm not gonna. If I sell them, I sell them. But if not, I don't. It's not a lot of money. It wasn't. I wasn't. Like I
Right.
said, it was half of what it was with the middleman. But again, I appreciate the middleman just because like they do inform you, they help you a lot, and
Yeah.
it was easy. They make things easy, especially if you're starting off.
Absolutely. Definitely not
Yeah.
trying to put down the middleman because I've
Oh, for
helped other
sure.
people, create pins, and in that way I've been like the middleman.
Yes.
But it takes a certain amount of like knowledge and experience
Oh yeah, it
in
takes a
order to
lot of
help
work.
guide these people. Yeah, you have to have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gone through the ringer yourself.
Yeah, I make a lot of pins for my friends. For my friends' like business, not necessarily pins that they sell, but they give out
Hmm.
for their business. And yeah, it's hard work for when you
Yeah,
don't know what they want exactly. So definitely not all power to them if they want to do that because that's awesome. But I don't some people actually prefer that because they don't want to deal with anyone else.
it can be
I know
very time consuming. Yeah.
yeah, especially because they're in a whole different time zone, and you gotta work with the what time is it? I think like around 7 p.m. is when they start replying. China, I think
Yeah.
that's like their morning, and I'm like, oh, it's 1 a.m. and they're sending me a tracking number, and I'm like excited at 1 a.m. Like yes,
Absolutely. I get really excited when I hear back from them. I'm like, oh shit, I just heard back from them. Let me respond to them right now, and let's try and do this as soon as possible. But it's always like late at night.
They're the only notification emails I get. I don't have notifications on for anyone else but the manufacturers. But yeah, I've worked with so many of them that now like it's become like a thing where like each one has their own specialty. Like, oh, okay, if I want to do strictly hard enamel, I go with them.
Hmm.
These guys are really good at screen printing, so I go with them. So yeah, it's become like each brand, each company has their own little specialty, which kind of sucks because sometimes you want to order, we got to restock, so you got to pay shipping at each individual place.
What did you find that was better going through a manufacturer than it was going through a middleman? Was it just the price? Were you getting them shipped faster to you as well?
Yeah, definitely speed. The price is a huge plus, but not necessarily the biggest part. Definitely the speed because instant gratification. It's all about that right now. So
Mm,
I
yeah.
want to pay and I want it now, like not like 6 weeks from now or 7 weeks from now. That and I was able to shop around for quality.
Hmm.
You know, that was another thing. Um, yeah, those are mainly my main things. Quality is probably being the biggest one because yeah, I've gotten some pins that look really great, but they're so flimsy and thin, and I'm like, I can't. I don't know what type of material they're using. It almost feels like aluminum.
Yeah, and that was actually going to be my next question. What are some challenges that you faced when talking to these manufacturers directly? Sounds like quality has been an
Yeah,
issue.
quality for sure. Also language barrier sometimes. Not anymore, but back then it was really difficult.
Hmm.
Because now you can tell they've hired either people, they've hired. You can tell that they definitely
Yeah.
hired people who were, because they realize that American makers are big, part of the big part of their business.
Hmm.
So definitely that was one of my biggest challenges: quality and language barrier, and then getting samples too. Nobody sends you samples unless you're going to pay like $60 for shipping.
Right.
And so I was able to find one manufacturer, actually a couple, but one that just sent me like 5 or 6 envelopes, like maybe of 50 or 60 pins of just samples. And I was just like, whoa, these guys are really going above and beyond. I looked at their quality and then like, everything was good, everything checked off. So yeah, I went ahead and started doing some pins with them. I wouldn't do like I said, I have a 3D person, my 3D pin person. I have my
Hmm.
a person for everything for But for them, I would go for like soft enamel because I see that there's no flaws. And you know how easy you can see flaws in soft enamel, especially like a pin like this. You'll be able to see like the flaws because it's just such big spaces with paint. You
Yeah.
can see little dots or something. Hard enamel is buffed, so it's like they'll buff anything away, any blemish basically.
I've gone to the same thing of just reaching out to different manufacturers, kind of comparing how they respond. You know, how their
Yeah.
customer service is. Are they answering all my questions? Are they
Uh,
leaving me asking more questions, or are they like going above and beyond?
Yeah, one tip I would give is,
Hmm.
especially for someone who wants to start off, is I know Alibaba is a bad word or whatever, but I would still go through them, check out every manufacturer, see a pin you recognize from a brand, and maybe like buy that pin from directly from a brand and be like, all right, this looks pretty cool. I'm actually gonna go with that manufacturer. That's what I would do. Like if you saw my pin there and be like, all right, let me buy it from Nostalgia Vault and see if the quality is what it is. And if so, I'll go with that manufacturer or whatever it is, whatever brand that they see.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But then also be aware that a lot of Alibaba pictures that they show you aren't theirs.
Yep.
Yep. I've seen a lot of my pins with manufacturers that don't manufacture my stuff, but a lot of my pins on there. So also, yeah, be aware of that. Also, they have a rating system too, so I think you can figure that out. But yeah, like I said, I've seen my pen, and I would inquire about them and be like, "Oh, you guys manufacture their pens?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, we do." I'd be like, "All right, those are my molds, actually." You'd be like, "Oh, well, we need to make new molds or whatever." I was like, "That doesn't make sense."
That's interesting, though. So when you were first looking for a manufacturer, you went to Alibaba? Because I went to Google. I just typed in pin manufacturer, and
Well,
I just
I already heard the word from a lot of makers about Alibaba, so I was like,
got it.
I went straight to them, and I actually saw my pins there, and I was like, what? I was blown away, and I was like, I'm not sure if my middleman is going through them, and if that's the case, can I just go straight to them and use my molds? so, but obviously, one of them I did talk to them, and she was like, "You can go through us, but we won't be able to use that mold because." And I was like, "I respect that. Like, that's fine. I wouldn't mind paying for another mold, but I want to make sure that you are that manufacturer and show me my molds." I was like, "That's a way to get through it." It's like, yeah, I don't mind paying for a new mold again, just as long as I know that it's for real. Yeah. So just show me the molds that it's you.
Show me the
Um,
molds.
Show me the molds. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
definitely. Like I said, it's a lot of research. It's a lot of, like I said, countless manufacturers that you go through.
Yeah, you definitely have to put in the time when you're looking to produce pins through a
Yeah.
manufacturer, and you got to be very detailed with these emails and what you want. Like you
Yeah.
can't leave them guessing or filling in any of the blanks that you didn't provide, because then you're gonna run into issues.
I've seen some. My manufacturer. She's on Facebook, so she's always messaging me, and like we got to the point where we're like, pretty good friends. So she'll message me like, "Look what this idiot wants me to make," or something like that. She would be like, she would be like, "Dude, this guy just sent me a drawing on paper that he wants me to make a pin out of. Like, what am I supposed to do?" Like I was like, I know we can redraw it, but like not like it's just hilarious. Like the stuff she gets, like so it's like, you definitely gotta at least go on freaking Fiverr and just pay somebody to draw your pin
hmm
or redraw it or vectorize it. Because I know that like I know Illustrator you gotta pay for that and it's expensive. So if you want to start off, yeah, draw it on paper, but send it to someone to vectorize it or at least redraw it digitally.
Definitely. It seems like it might be like a cumbersome process, especially
Yeah.
when you don't know where to start out or you're drawing like your designs, but it's really like you put in the time and you're not devoting a lot of time and it's not like the most expensive thing. It's really just going for it. If you really want to do it, then you'll find the means to do it and there's so many different services available out there to make it happen pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so much. I mean, even in my city, there's a manufacturer that makes pins. They're just. I've already talked to them. You're looking at like almost retail if you want to make pins through them. So, but I'm just saying they're everywhere. There are pin makers everywhere. Like there's, and there are resources too. There's like classes now you can find. Like I saw some. I was looking on my stories on Instagram, and I saw somebody was like, "Oh yeah, check out my class." I can't remember who it was, what brand it was, but they're doing like classes to show you how to make your own pins. And I was like, "That's pretty cool, I guess." Yeah, that would have helped 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a ton of great like videos on YouTube and stuff like that kind of
yeah,
help steer you in the right direction. But I have
yeah.
yet to see classes like Skillshare classes on
Yeah,
making
Skillshare
enamel
class.
pins.
I don't know
That's
if it
what's
was a
up.
Skillshare class, but it was one of those classes you have to pay for. And I was
I,
like, well, that's kind of cool. Like I almost wanted to try. I can't remember who it was. I wish I remembered who. But it was somebody I followed. But I thought that was different. I was like, nobody's doing that. That's smart. There's a lot of artists, independent artists that want to, make some of their prints into pins or whatever. So maybe.
For sure. I went to a networking event and I met a lot of artists. It was like a networking event for creative individuals, whether you do videos or photos or graphic design, like whatever your spiel is, like you go there to network and meet other people and kind of like add names to your Rolodex. And I was
Yeah.
talking to a lot of artists, a lot of designers, illustrators, and they all like, oh my gosh, you make pins? And they're just like, oh, how do you make them? And I must have had that conversation like a gazillion times. I loved it. I'm not trying to complain. It's just
Yeah.
really cool that like a lot of people out there are seeing like the pins rise in popularity and want to turn their art into pins. And I think that's really cool.
So yeah, I actually saw that physically happen before my eyes. I went to Designer Con, like I think 2017, right? 2017. I can't remember if I vended, but I went to Designer Con. You know, there's a ton of artists there. The next year I go, and then every artist has a pin, man, like a pin with their prints. So definitely, it's for independent artists, illustrators, designers. I think it's a big thing because some people don't buy prints, but a pin, it's like easy. Yeah, prints. Like I buy prints, but I never hang them. I don't really. I always forget, or I just have like a ton of prints collected, but I don't do anything with them. But pins, it's different, you know.
Yeah.
It's a way to support the artist and not like, it's just a pin. It's not anything crazy. Like, I mean, I'm not saying a print is crazy, but I mean, like, it's hard to like. You got to frame it. You got to, do a lot of work. Yeah, definitely. I saw a huge change in the convention floor with that. I was like, everybody has pins now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's very cool.
Just the fact you can, support people and more artists. And like me, like I collect a lot. Like I said, I collect a lot of Bob Jagger stuff, whatever it is. So if I see an artist sells prints, I buy them. If they sell pins, even better. but
Yeah.
I'll collect them. I collect whatever. Sometimes that's all I buy when I go to like Designer Con or Comic Con or whatever. So
You are a big Bob's Burgers fan. That is
yeah,
for sure.
I do have a lot of things, and it's funny because like that's what I'm known for. So that's all I get. Like come my birthday, I'll be like, that's all I get. Even though I already have this. Like why are you buying it? Like they think I don't have it. I'm like, obviously a collector for a reason. Like I already have it. Anyway,
I love you, mom and dad, but just check in with me before you decide to buy something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely a huge, big part of my business is making a bunch of Bob Rager's pins, and one of the last ones was this one right here. It's a really big one. It's a Bob Rager's family pin.
That one's so clean. Is that hard enamel?
So it's mixed hard enamel with translucent like soft enamel. I don't know if you can tell. It's hard to tell, but
Ooh.
anyways, it's a collaboration with a friend of mine. Her brand is from pen to paper. From pen to paper. She actually was featured on a fan art episode of Bob's Burgers. So that artwork was featured on the actual episode, which is really cool. Yeah, and that thing is 3 inches. It's probably, I think, one of the biggest pins I've made for myself. I made bigger pins for other people, for a friend of mine's. Like, I made I think like a 7-inch pin for a friend of mine before too.
Dang.
It's like a big old pail. Like,
yo, I can't even imagine the shipping for that or the weight of the box.
Yeah, the boxes. It was 2 boxes. I remember it was ridiculous. But I like them. I like the big pins. I love little pins too. Like I remember the first, for example, the Simba spoon from back. That one? So I brought it back in a bigger version, but I really prefer the little version. So sometimes like the little ones are so it for me, like everything design, it's praised by design, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But
oh, that pin was a throwback.
Yeah. Like if you want to wear it like on your hat or something like, a 3-inch pin, you might want to wear it like on your backpack or your jacket. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like pins you could also wear in your hat. So you need little stuff.
So talk to me about your design process. What's that look like from like start to finish?
Honestly, it varies. Mainly I would go through Illustrator, directly in Illustrator, or sometimes through Procreate. Not so much anymore. I used to do a lot of Procreate, but I for some reason I feel more comfortable directly on Illustrator, just going at it. Especially like I mentioned to you earlier before we started using AstroPad.
Yeah.
Just linking my iPad directly to the MacBook and then just drawing on Illustrator. It's vector based, so you already have the vector file ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the idea of what it is, If it's a collaboration, maybe the artist will send me some sketches and then I would redraw them. then that's simpler through Illustrator. But if it's just a random idea, yeah, like for example, the little wrestling buddies that I did, that I actually had to, sketch out from the actual wrestling buddies I would be looking at.
Yeah.
That one was hard because it was it's a plush toy. It was a little difficult, but the lines were already clean as it was, so it wasn't like too much.
Mm-hmm.
I wish those are like licensed. That would be so amazing because they don't exist. So that would be great.
That would be cool. Those toys are
Yeah,
really popular.
yeah. I don't know who you would go through though, because I know that who was it? Who was
There's
it?
someone
Who
on
released it?
Alibaba.
I'm wondering who I can't remember who made the actual, but anyways, because of the shape of it, I'm sure they probably have a big part of the license they would have to go through. I don't know. I don't
For
sell
sure.
enough of them to get a license though, because that would be crazy. But again, I would be able to, right? I would be able to sell them directly on their site probably.
Yeah, that would be cool. Do you have any licenses with anyone?
Yeah. Right now, I have the license with like Kit Kat claw,
Oh,
the
sick.
little 3D one.
Cute.
Um, I almost had a license with Viacom, but my attorney advised against it, so I ended up passing on it just because some of the paperwork just didn't make sense. I guess for the small brand that I had,
Mm-hmm.
he said maybe if I was slightly a bigger brand, maybe it made sense. Yeah, they actually hit me up, which is weird. They were like, "Oh yeah, we really like your website, and I think you guys would be a perfect fit for their Nickelodeon line from the '90s."
Yeah.
Because this was back like 3 years ago when they started bringing everything back. Like all that and
Mm-hmm.
all their '90s stuff.
Of
And I was like,
course.
yeah,
Big fan.
I was amazed that like they're the person in charge of accessories and all that hit me up. I was like, what?
That's
Like, yeah,
crazy.
sign me up.
Yeah.
So they sent me all the paperwork and all the information, and yeah, like I said, I talked to a couple of people who already dealt with licensing, and they were like, maybe you should talk to an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and I guess I didn't want to end up because I think the license was for 2 years, and I didn't want to end up with a lot of pins that I won't be able to sell later on.
Sure. That's a good
Um,
reason.
yeah, so I figured I passed. I wasn't really like what's it called? I wasn't prepared for it
Yeah.
as well. It was it would be amazing, like freaking bragging rights, But
Be cool, but it's
yeah,
also pretty cool that they approached you with this.
yeah, I guess so. That was actually pretty cool. I
Yeah.
honestly think they just Googled nostalgia pins or something, and then that's what popped up.
Nah, man, don't sell yourself short.
But
Even a few years ago, you were pretty big in the game. You were pretty well known and synonymous with the pin game. Your pins were everywhere, so I'm sure you were on the radar in some form or another.
yeah, for sure, I'm on Fox's radar.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah, for sure. They're licensed to, I guess, right now for pins has been on my case for a while, so for
Mm,
sure, I'm on Fox's radar. I actually got approached by them at Comic Con like 2016 to see if I would work with them to make, I guess, to sell my pins to them,
yeah.
kind of like a middleman again. But
Okay.
they
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
my designs,
Okay.
and at the time that sounded really good. But then they were literally wanting to give me less than what it cost me to make them. So I was like, I can't. I just couldn't. Which kind of sucked. But I mean, now they're selling pins at Comic Con, so that's kind of cool for them. It's a pretty. They're a well known. They're not a well known company or brand, but they sell licensed stuff. They sell. I know it's just Fox Burgers, and Family Guy.
Mm,
They're the ones to go to, I guess, at Comic Con. They're they're the ones. But yeah, like I said, they've been on my case for a while. I'm sure they've already, all I'm waiting for is their email or whatever.
yeah. For real.
Yeah,
I've been there. I know that
yeah.
feeling. So let's talk about marketing for a hot minute. I want to ask you, what platforms are you selling your pins on?
I am selling some on Etsy. Some of the
Hmm.
stuff I can get away that I know that isn't like, because anything owned by Fox or Disney on Etsy is like, it's flagged right away,
Yeah, I've heard stories
basically.
about that.
So anything I can get away, I know I can get away with, I sell on Etsy.
Okay.
Other than that, I have my own website where I just sell through Shopify. So Shopify is
Yo, same.
who I go through.
Love
So
Shopify.
yeah, for sure. I switched maybe like 2 years ago, and from Big Cartel,
Hmm.
and it's been like night and day, to be honest.
Explain some of that.
Well, mainly my favorite part is that you can do shipping directly through Shopify instead of going through the Big Cartel, copy and paste, go through whatever you were using, which is ShipStation or whatever. That was one of my biggest. I hated that. So Shopify made that easier. Obviously, you still have to pay. It's a little more. I think it's like $15 more. But I mean, you pay for ShipStation anyway, so it just makes sense. The analytics, everything is great about it.
Yeah,
I don't have one complaint through Shopify. Sorry about that.
it's hard to find something wrong with it because it's such a great platform.
Yeah, and then they have built-in apps that are crazy. Every
Yeah,
day there's a new app for something.
absolutely. Oh, that's so cool. We're not trying to like plug Shopify, but
Yeah.
Shopify is a great platform. I mean, you're gonna pay, a monthly fee to use this and have access to all these features, but in my experience, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that it's great. And I actually like I said, I should have done Shopify from the beginning, which I did. If you look at the account, it was registered in like 2015. But I was like, well, I'm only selling 2 pins right now. I could just do a free Big Cartel account. And I just kind of stood with that, didn't change it. But definitely probably would have done a lot better through Shopify. And then their themes are really good. You can get free
Hmm.
themes. And if you don't like any of those, you can actually go on eBay and download or buy a bunch of free themes.
On eBay?
Yeah, on eBay. So for like $10, you can get like 25 themes, and it's crazy. You download them directly, and then you can upload them on Shopify.
Yo, I would have never thought to buy a theme on eBay. That's crazy.
So I haven't done it yet, but I've heard a lot of people have done it. So if it works, it works.
Interesting.
Yeah,
If any listeners try and do that, please,
yeah,
please
yeah,
let the pen pals know what is up with that. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I was actually thinking about updating my site myself, so I might actually experiment with that, see how it goes.
Do you have any do you approach e-commerce marketing in any specific way? Do you just kind of like throw them up on the website? Do you have any strategy into like bringing traffic back to your website?
I actually don't. I rely 100% on Instagram to actually do that. I don't even pay for reposts or anything. I just hopefully that Instagram will pull through. If not, like I'll throw something on Etsy, but never as a like, oh, I hope you know, it's gonna do great. Etsy, like if I throw a pin, like I can even like let's say this anime mix fan, like if I throw that in there, I probably won't like as a fresh new pin. I just released it. It probably won't sell, but maybe like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, maybe yeah. Like it's not. I don't rely on Etsy at all for my sales at all.
Your social media strategy. Talk to me about that because we had linked up at Patches and Pins Expo last year on the East Coast. And I remember the conversation that we had afterwards. I think it was at Gotham Market. You were telling me you don't really post all that often on Instagram.
Oof, yeah, I am so bad at that. I post maybe 3 times a month.
But in a way, I think that works for you because like I can scroll through your feed and multiple pictures in a row will have like hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of likes.
I guess in a way, it's gotten so bad where like I've had my own followers send me pictures, like professional pictures of my pins that they purchased, just so I can post them. You're right. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I haven't tried the other approach where I have friends posting 3, 4 times a day, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't do that. How do you even? I remember one week I was like, I'm gonna do one photo a day, and I was like, it's super hard for me. I can't just be like, there you go.
It is.
Especially because I don't really have that many new pins I don't bring new pins all that often.
And it becomes hard to like put out quality posts if you're doing it every single day.
Yeah. I think in a way I've been in once every couple of weeks or even every week. People actually will pay attention to the post instead of just keep scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also helps because yes, I see somebody's feed and they never post. I'm like, okay, see what they got to say.
So what do you think attributes to your success on Instagram?
Laziness. I'm just kidding.
Laziness. You hear that, folks? Laziness will lead you
Kidding.
to 30,000 followers.
No. It's hard. Like I said, I don't really pay for reposts. I think I was the first to do the Bob Burgers pins, and I think there's a huge fandom there.
Mm-hmm.
At least there was when it first started. I don't see it as much as before, but definitely that's a big one. Other than that, I can't explain it. People like the pins are so like you go from like Bob Burgers to like this guy. Not a lot of people know from Tom and Jerry. Like
Yeah, the bulldog.
like yeah, so like it varies. Like
You do have a nice range of nostalgic products for sure, from like those Ninja Turtle pins, which I absolutely love, to like touching on Recess, that old school show Recess.
yeah.
Your Dino pin, the mini Dino pin from Flintstones, that's adorable.
I see a lot of brands doing basically the same thing over and over. I guess I wouldn't say we have a niche, but we kind of do, I guess. I don't know.
I'd say you definitely do, because pretty much everything that you release, I mean, other than maybe Bob's Burgers, but that falls into like the modern pop culture, is heavily influenced on 80s, 90s cartoons, TV shows, all that stuff. So I'd definitely say like that's your niche for sure.
Okay, all right.
And you're sticking true to that. You're not stepping too much outside of those boundaries. So that probably has something to do with the success that you see on Instagram. It could also be the algorithm just bending backwards for you, because it's like no one knows how that works. So
everybody, I mean, I can't complain about it just because I don't post about how to post. So it's like I said, I don't post enough to be like, oh crap, nobody's 10 likes on this. Like I can't. Yeah, if I posted, I bet you every day I would be like talking about that all the time.
Yeah.
But everybody I know is talking about it like nonstop. I haven't had a conversation about Instagram where we're not talking about it. Yeah, it's I guess a little bit of everything that kind of helps.
Tell me that wasn't a great conversation. George is one of the realest dudes in the pin game, and I have nothing but love and respect for him and Nostalgia Vault. So if you like what George had to say, please check out Nostalgia Vault. Links to his website, social media, and a special discount code specifically for our listeners will be provided in the description of this episode. Again, I apologize that the conversation was cut short, but let me make it up to you. How does 15% off your next Warrior Pins order sound? Sounds pretty good, right? Head on over to www.warriorpins.com and use the discount code PINPALS. It's 2 words, pin space pals, during checkout, and you'll automatically receive 15% off your entire order. Don't forget to subscribe to Pin Pals wherever you're listening to this. And if you found this episode really interesting or found some value or some advice, please consider giving us a 5-star rating. I would truly, truly appreciate that. We're also on Instagram at thepinpalspodcast, so you can follow us there for more up-to-date news. I think that's everything. So with that being said, I'm Eric from Warrior Pins. Thank you for joining me on episode 1. And remember, it's the little things in life. I'll see you soon.